Good morning, everyone. Hello, hello. How are we doing? Well, we're going to be waiting on the court to come in. We have the sentencing of Jaylin Brazier this morning. And as you guys know, he has been convicted by a jury. The jury came in, let's see, how long? I think it was less than an hour. They came in and convicted him. Didn't take long. And they knew what was going on. I was actually surprised it didn't take them long. Um, Other than the fact that he had confessed to certain things, there was still a lot of questionable items on the table for me anyway. But jury didn't take long. They've charged him with the unaliving of his cousin, Zion Foster. And her mother's about to get some justice this morning. Her mother and her father. I think that was her father that was there in the court the last time. So I'm just waiting for the stream to come up, and once it does, we'll transfer over to it. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Tina. Hey, Harry. Good morning, Darlene. How y'all been? How is life treating everybody today? Y'all ready for the summer? So this, as the story goes with this case, Jaylin says that his cousin came over to hang out and smoke marijuana. And at some point, he said she passed out. And he thought that she was sleeping. And then he realized that she was not alive. And so rather than doing the normal thing, which would be either like, hey, they are family, calling, I don't know, a family member, he panics and takes her body and puts it in a dumpster nearby his home or somewhere nearby his area. Most of this was caught on surveillance video. Well, not surveillance. It was on like doorbell cams. And I have to say that even the video to me was a little sus because I was like, okay, we're pretty sure that's him. And I'm not saying that it wasn't him. I'm just saying that without a doubt, we don't know that it wasn't him. I I you see a white car, you see feet, you see somebody putting something in a dumpster. You don't know for sure that's what it was. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at now. Let me double check my stream real quick. This is going into something else here. So, yeah, court is starting at, well, court should be starting right now. It looks like they're not going into it. Now, it says watch the live sentencing above. Let's watch this piece real quick so you guys can see what this says.
A disturbing case we've been following for more than 2 years now, the disappearance and death of Zion Foster.
Her own cousin found guilty of her murder will learn his sentence today. Fox News' Robin Murdoch is live outside the courthouse with that hearing just hours away. Robin.
Good morning, Jane, Amy. Yes, we are outside the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice. We're at 9 o'clock this morning. So in 3 hours from now, Jaylin Brazier will learn his fate for killing his own step cousin. Now, this is a situation, as you mentioned, that we have been following for more than 2 years. So that sentencing set to happen at 9 o'clock this morning. Jaylin Brazier says that he and his cousin Zion Foster were actually doing drugs in January of 2022 when she died. He says that they were smoking pot when she passed out, that he panics and stuck her body in the trunk of his car and then put her in a dumpster. Now, despite weeks of exhaustive searches at a Macomb County landfill, the 17-year-old's body has never been found. Now, during the course of the 9-day trial, the prosecution pointed out several inconsistencies in Brazier's story, how it actually changed multiple times during the course of the police investigation. The jury jury in less than an hour last month found him guilty of second-degree murder and tampering with evidence. Here is reaction from Zion Foster's father to that guilty verdict.
I just want to say to the jury, thank you. You saved a lot of lives today. You saved a lot of families' heartbreak and misery. And for Jaylin, you thought you were smart. You tried to be slick. The people saw you for what you are. You ain't. And I hope you never get out.
Now, again, Brazier's sentencing is set for 9 o'clock this morning. It will happen inside the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice here in Detroit. He does face up to life in prison for the death of Zion Foster. And of course, you can stay with us right here at Fox 2 News for the very latest coverage. For now, we are live in Detroit. I'm Robin Murdoch, Fox 2 News.
All right, hang on just a second. I want to do... Here we go.
New again?
Yes.
Like
They're going to go live as soon as it goes live.
Reminding the world why it's called the Motor City with the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix, now just hours away.
Absolutely,
Stop.
Jay. Thousands of
Much
people will be
time,
headed
effort, and
downtown
money
to catch all the
into
action.
making this look as good as
Dr.
it
Hang
is.
on.
Murdoch is what you need to know before you go. Robin, good morning to you.
I feel like Jay and Josh, that we have been talking about this for months and months now, and now the
I've got a background video, and I can't make it stop. Okay, there we go. That is so annoying when you can't figure out where it's coming from. Okay, so I think they're going to switch over as soon as they go live into the courtroom. Now, hey, Laura, good morning. Hey, Mandy. I am assuming, well, I'm not assuming. Detroit is Eastern time, right? It should be happening at 8 o'clock my time, which is now. But, you know, court's never on time. I'm doing one quick thing. Hang on. I want to do a live search. See if there's not some other link out there. I should be. Here it is. Nope. I might be jumping the gun at the time on the time. Now, he was sentenced to lying to police a while back. Let's watch this really quick. This was a different... He was already convicted for lying to police about during the investigation.
I did turn myself in. Yes, I lied, but I was not in the right state of mind. There was no way for me to prepare for a situation like that. I was scared.
I'm not totally clear on the situation. And the report is rather sketchy with respect to the situation.
And I will fill Your Honor in on some of those details.
Appreciate it. But what the report suggests that you had contact with the individual. The police questioned you regarding that contact. You didn't tell them the truth associated with the contact. Then you, once confronted with information that you were not telling the truth, you came forward and told them that you disposed of the body. I mean, that's all. That leaves a whole lot out there that's unaccounted for from the court's perspective. But what circumstances are you talking about?
Well, when she died, it was just random. Like from my end of it.
What do you mean?
I was terrified. Literally from that point on, I didn't know what to do. I wasn't in the right state of mind for anything. And I turned myself in. They didn't present me with anything. After getting my thoughts together.
So did you explain how she passed?
I don't know exactly how she passed, what caused her to pass. I just know 1 minute she was cool, she was fine. She laid back for a minute. Next thing I know, she was dead. I don't know what caused it. I did not cause it or anything like that. I reacted stupidly off of fear and panic like I've never felt before in my life. Literally.
I mean, people are sitting around and somebody just passes. I mean, did you think about calling 911 or something like that?
No, not at the time. We were smoking. We were on marijuana as well. So my mental state wasn't in any like logical spectrum. I was just immediately just terrified. Like that's the only words I can use to describe the moment.
Yes, I'm muted. I was just a talking. Let's hope the audio on this one's a little bit better than that last one we were just watching. So this is her mother right here. She's on Zoom for the sentencing, but they're in the courtroom. The cameras are. So good morning, Darlene, Gail, Teresa. Well, that sentencing that we were just watching, Teresa. That was from his first charge of, I think it was tampering or lying. No, it was for lying to police during an investigation. So that was a different thing that he was convicted of, a different charge, but it was related to this. Okay, here they go. I'm going to mute myself once I start audio. You guys good? You can hear everything? Hit a 1 in the chat if you can, please.
18-01- we need the defendant and Mr. Yeah, where's Mr.
Hope the audio gets better. I got it as loud as it can go on my side, guys. This judge is so dry. I mean, he's just, I don't know. He's strange to me. Oh, thank you so much, Laura, for reminding everybody to please hit that like button on your way in and out. That would be, well, just hit it one time. Whether you do it when you come in or when you do when you leave, I would really, really appreciate it. It helps the algorithm. Algorithms are changing. Things are changing in the YouTube world, and I don't know if it's going to be good or bad for us true crime peeps.
Recording stopped.
Okay, they're pausing. What's wrong here? Are they having problems bringing him into the courtroom? Is he pulling up Daryl Brooks? Oh, what's going on with Darrell? We're waiting on his sentencing. It's going to be... Oh, I got it in here somewhere. It's coming up. I gotta look on my calendar. Did I say August? Is that when it was? I can't remember. I got to go back and look. I got to set up a stream link for it too, so we don't miss it. There he is. Okay. I don't know if Sarah Boone's still supposed to have a hearing this week. She was originally, I had one scheduled written in that she was having a pretrial hearing on Friday, but everything keeps changing with her trial because she's so crazy and changing lawyers like popping mints. So I don't know. We'll find out. If it is, I'll have it on. If not, I'll have to reschedule it. I'm going to, I've been on vacation, so I appreciate y'all's patience, but I've got to get my lives that are coming up that I plan on watching. I'll go ahead and get those scheduled. So when you go to my channel, if you hit the live button, you'll be able to, and I said, it says home, video, lives, and shorts and all that. If you hit live, you should be able to see the premieres. So I'm going to go ahead and set those up. So you'll know when they're going on, and you can just go in and hit the notify button and check your spam too, because a lot of times my notifications go to spam when I get notifications from YouTube. So just a heads up. All right, we have the volume on in the court, but nothing's happening. We'll go back to that other piece in a minute too, if y'all want to, when this is over. I don't think this is going to last very long. He looks rough. Looks rougher than he did last time. July 11th is popping up in your head for the sentencing. Is that when it was? I don't know why I didn't write it down.
Calling case number 23-3818.
Oh, because my calendar quit on me in June. I got a new calendar I got to start on. All right, I'm muting.
Good morning, Mr. Brazier, Mr. Brown, and Mr. Elsey. Today is the date set for sentencing in this case. Mr. Brown, have you had a chance to review the pre-sentence investigation report and sentencing guidelines with your attorney, Mr. Brazier, with your client, Mr. Brazier?
Yes, I have, Your Honor, and there are no need for any additional corrections.
All right. Any issue with the way the sentencing guidelines are calculated?
No.
All right. Mr. Brazier, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right. Please state your name and spell it.
Jaylin Brazier. That's Jaylin. Brazier, Brazier.
All right. Put your hand up. Do you read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes.
Have you get a chance to review the pre-sentence investigation report and sentencing guidelines with your attorney, Mr. Brown?
Yes.
And do you have any changes, additions, or deletions to the pre-sentence investigation report?
No, sir.
Do you find it to be factually accurate?
Yes.
And do you have an issue with the way the sentencing guidelines are calculated?
No.
All right. Mr. Elsey, an issue with the pre-sentence investigation report or sentencing guidelines?
No, Your Honor.
All right. I'm sure there's going to be some people who want to make an oral impact statement.
Yes, Your Honor. I believe there are 2 to 3 family members of the victim who are on Zoom and will wish to want to make a statement.
Okay. Well, there was one. Now it appears to be gone.
The attorneys have no mics on them, guys, so it's real hard to hear them.
Is there anybody potentially in the waiting room, Your Honor?
No. There was a Miss Milton identified. But I don't know why they're not here now.
If the court could bear with us.
Sure. You need a Zoom ID?
I believe she has it.
I mean, really, all we need to hear is the judge because he's just going to announce the sentencing. So it's not like I know the volume's very low. Oh, am I talking? I'm gonna move my mic away from my mouth. I don't know how to talk soft. I do. It's on my theater work. I did. I'm loud. Can't help it. It's natural. But yeah, all we really need to hear is the judge, because he's going to be the
Can you
one.
hear me?
Yes, sir.
She's
Okay.
impact
Ma'am,
statement.
Go ahead. If you could just direct your comments to me, please.
Good thing, Your Honor.
Take your time.
His mother will still be able to talk to her child. His mother will be able to visit her child. His mother will still be able to do for her child in attempts at making what should be a hellhole a little bit more comfortable. Whereas my child, Zion, can't be visited. What would I do going to a landfill, knowing that the contents that were in the landfill at that time are no longer there? And it'd be better if I were able to just go around the corner to her room and to see her or to visit her at college. He lives and is grown and was able to start a family. My child, Zion, had only just hit 17. She didn't get to see graduation. She didn't get to see prom. She didn't get to get her first license, marriage, family, or a career. And it would be different, I guess, if it were a sickness or something, but it's not. The convicted took all of that and more away. I want to stress that single parenting is always very hard, due to abuse and abandonment. It's brought a ton of fears and issues and things that I've had to deal with my kids. And, when you're in a situation like that, you often seek for someone that you can connect to. And that's what my daughter did. My babies and I have had deep trust issues. We have a very limited amount of people that we communicate with, and even less that we are actually connected to. And since this, it's been even more tight knit. Had to deal with therapy sessions and children acting out because just from the abuse that they saw from their father, which is the convicted cousin, or the feeling of abandonment there. So now you add on another layer family doing wrong to family. And at this point, it's at the max. I've had my children be suicidal because of the pain. I've had my children have to be hospitalized. My children have been on medication. And because I am the sole provider with absolutely no support, I don't have the ability to break down. And so even in my brokenness and attempting to do what I can for my children, there have been moments where that ability has been stripped away just because of these actions. I have 5 kids now instead of 6. And there were times that I haven't been strong enough to deal with this. When we've ended up without housing because I couldn't make it to work, because I couldn't function, because of breaking down. We have various medical diagnoses. And I hate to say that someone could have so much power to do such a thing and to cause such a weakness or to cause such a disability. But because of his action, I had to have my baby homeless, pleading for help from their father or just to get something so that we could. And again, still trying to maintain everything because we are the ones who are affected the most. Not saying that others aren't, but we are the ones who are affected the most. Because Zion, the life of the party. She was my firstborn, my best friend. And he stole from me my baby. He stole from me the opportunity to even say goodbye. He stole from me my artist, my architecture. And he stole from me my singer and my songwriter. He stole from me. And he stole from my babies. And he stole from the world what would have been and what should have been a great human being. All she has ever done was try to make people happy and try to fit in, because that's what kids do. I've had 2 of them who failed in school. One dropped out. We got them back in. We, meaning my children and I, because they still want to grow. They still want to thrive. But Your Honor, it is hard. It is extremely hard to know that we have to wake up every day and see a belonging or a video pop up on our phone and know that we can't talk about the memory with her. We don't get to laugh and joke with her. We don't get to sing with her. We don't get to play with her. I don't get to know what she would be as an adult. I just know what she desired. My baby was an entrepreneur. Even at the age of 15 and 16, she had created her own website and was making her own little money and things. What more would she have done and what more would she have been if she weren't snuffed out by the convicted? My baby boy is the one that actually has epilepsy. And he, in the very beginning, of course, he just loved Zion, would reach out only for her. It took a year and a half for him to get better. He wouldn't eat food. He was accustomed to her. It's just a number of things. It's a number of things. I have boys, and they are angry. Angry. They're angry with the world. They're angry with family. They're angry at him. There's been a lot of damage done. And it's not something that's able to be repaired because you can't undo what's been done. But I am pleading with the court that he gets a max time. For me, 25 years, my baby would have lived longer than that. Anyway, the damage that's been done has been tenfold and more. And Zion doesn't get to see the day of light or the light of day. You know, we just want to have justice. It won't bring her back. But at least it'll be known that you cannot do the things that he's done and get away with it and be tapped on the hand and told, no, no, no. That's all I'm asking. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Is anybody else with you that likes to make a statement?
My daughter Chosen was ready to, but she doesn't. She can't handle speaking to the court regarding it. So she did write something, and I believe that it was sent here.
Yes.
Will that be presented?
I've seen it.
That's all we ask.
Mr. Elson? Anything else?
Your Honor, is the court prepared for, I guess, allocution on behalf of people then at this point?
If there's no other one who wants to make an oral impact statement, then yes.
Your Honor, for years, defense attorneys in the state of Michigan pounded at podiums like this one and demanded that the sentencing guidelines be deemed advisory, not mandatory. And in 2015, that wish was granted by the Supreme Court's decision in People versus Lockridge. And that was a fully appropriate decision because I think the court knows there are plenty of situations where justice needs to be individually tailored to a specific case, to a specific offender. And in a lot of cases that we see in this building, the guidelines are too stringent. There are just too many mitigating circumstances for the guidelines to be appropriate. And I've advocated, even as prosecutor on numerous occasions for downward departures from the guidelines when mitigating circumstances are presented. But it works both ways. And this is a case where there are so many aggravating circumstances that the guidelines range for second-degree murder in this case, which would call for a sentence of 225 months to 375 months or life, is dramatically insufficient. And in my sentencing memorandum, I called out a number of those aggravating factors, and I just want to make note of those briefly for the record. For one, the way in which the defendant exploited the relationship that he had with Zion, the basic starting point, the basic genesis of what brought us here, that he had a much younger cousin who was, by his own admission, a survivor of sexual assault, and he essentially created this hyper-sexualized relationship with her through all these communications, through moving closer and closer into her life, by gaining her trust and exploiting that trust. The guidelines don't take that exploitation into consideration. The guidelines don't take into consideration the amount of suffering that the defendant imposed on Sierra Milton and on her family in the days after he killed Zion. He injected them with the false hope that she was okay, that sure she'll turn up somewhere. At a time when other members of the public, when this was widely reported, were also exploiting Miss Milton and her family, claiming that they had information about where Zion was, and of course demanding money. And all of these tips and leads coming in on a daily basis, the defendant is the one who enabled that by injecting that false hope. And that was an amount of terror and trauma that I don't think the sentencing guidelines in any way contemplate. There is one sentencing guideline that considers the idea of obstruction. It's OB 19. And in particular, it's scored here 10 points for otherwise interfering with the administration of justice. And I don't think that even barely scratches the surface of the amount to which the defendant obstructed justice in this case. First of all, by disposing of Zion's remains, by the repeated lies to law enforcement, by wiping his cell phone, by even the witness interference attempts that we saw through the jail calls, even leading up to the eve of the trial. There's no way that the guidelines account for that degree of obstruction that was reflected in this case. The amount of resources that the public had to spend searching for Zion, dozens of people searching a landfill for close to 6 months in hazmat suits, heavy machinery ordered by the Detroit Police Department. It was a massive effort, and the guidelines don't account for that. The guidelines don't account for the degree of manipulation, I believe, that we witnessed on the part of the defendant, where he could sit in an interrogation room with an officer and lie with a straight face, and then the very next day lie with that very same straight face and say something completely different. That level of manipulation is nowhere reflected in the sentencing guidelines. And nor do the guidelines reflect the total remorselessness that we've seen from the defendant throughout this entire process, where in every single statement that he's made, every single time he's had an opportunity to speak, there's no remorse, there's no apology. It's just this claim that he's had from the start that somehow he is the victim here. So with that in mind, I believe that the guidelines are completely inadequate in this case. And what we've seen is evidence confirming what is a very dangerous and manipulative individual. And the jury in this case swiftly administered administer justice by coming back with a verdict in about 30 minutes after close to 2 weeks of testimony, finding the defendant guilty. I'm asking the court to administer justice to by imposing an above guideline sentence of 45 to 80 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections for second-degree murder, consecutive with the maximum sentence allowable for witness tampering, which translates to 80 months to 10 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Brown?
Your Honor, we know that the guidelines are advisory, but the guidelines are there for sort of guideposts because, in fact, they do incorporate a lot of the factors which the prosecutor indicates that are not taken into consideration in this particular case. For one, OV number 5, which was scored against Mr. Brazier, which is the psychological injury to members of the victim's family. When this was crafted by the legislative, they took that particular situation or situations like this into fact when they constructed the guidelines of how certain crimes or certain acts would impact a person's family. And in this particular situation, they scored it as such. OV-19 was scored against Mr. Brazier as far as the interference with justice, as far as the situations that Mr. Elsey stated, as far as the wiping of the phone, the fact of telling the officers at first that he didn't know, even though, in my opinion, it could have been a good reason. He did eventually come clean and told the officers exactly what happened and where she was. Sergeant Jones indicated that they believed him because otherwise they wouldn't have spent so many man hours in the particular landfill. It was very unfortunate that she was not found in that landfill, but I would surmise Mr. Brazier wouldn't know that her body would never be turned up after telling the officers, in fact, where she was. There's also OV number 10, the exploitation of a vulnerable victim, which in this particular case was not scored nor was it requested by the prosecution. This is another variable in the guidelines that the legislative took in consideration when they carefully drafted all the particular guidelines, and it could have been applicable in this particular case, or at least could have been requested. However, I guess the prosecution felt that it was not necessary or applicable in this particular case. And Your Honor, one of the reasons for sentencing is to give an individual a chance to rehabilitate himself. And I believe that Mr. Brazier has demonstrated that. He was previously convicted in Macomb County for the same situations revolving around this incident. He was released on parole, and per the precinct's investigation report, he had negative substance abuse tests. He was working. He was trying to fold himself back into the fabric of society. He has 3 minor children that he was living with, providing financial, moral, and physical support on a day-to-day basis with his fiance, showing that he does have what it takes to be an individual who can come back to society. However, Wayne County prosecutor charged him much later after this particular incident upon his release, which led to this particular situation. Now, I don't necessarily believe that Mr. Brazier was trying to groom Zion, and I don't believe that the text messages that were shared between them were of a sexually charged nature. I personally believe that it just shows the extent of their relationship. Now, I'm not going to relitigate this particular matter, but in that particular situation, I don't believe the evidence showed that. And as far as remorse, we saw that Mr. Brazier was very emotional at particular times at different interviews. Now, he maintained his innocence throughout the trial, and that's his constitutional right. I don't think that should be held against him. He did express remorse and bad decision-making as far as what he should have done, as far as calling 911, and the decisions he made were not the best, but I believe he did try to make the best of his choices and of the situation. And Your Honor, I believe that in this particular case, I believe a lower end of the guidelines would be appropriate for Mr. Brazier in this particular situation. And we're asking for a sentence
You can stay right there. It's fine.
Okay, let's see if we get I'm sorry.
I'm just speaking matter of fact. I caused all this, of course. I take responsibility for the action that I did do on my cost. Sierra and her family, massive trauma, as well as mine, and just furthermore divided both of our families. I was reckless. I was inconsiderate, and this is the outcome of it. I know that the picture's already painted, of course, and once we get to having it in our head, it is what it is, really, truly. But Zion was not in any way violent. He wasn't hurt at all. I never would have. Yes, we were close. There was nothing sexual ever. We were both victims of the very same situation. And it was said that I never wanted to apologize, or I never tried to apologize. That's not true. What I said is I know that my apology is worth nothing. You can't change it. What I did, you can't change it. It won't change it. And I know if I was the one hurting it, it wouldn't matter me saying I'm sorry or anything. But I am very much so. Like I said, it's been throughout this whole 2.5 years. I pray for everybody, including her family, Mr. Elsie, my own family, just for peace and some kind of closure. And I hope this brings up for everybody, honestly, and genuinely. I am so remorseful. It's my way of showing it may not be the same for all of you or anybody else, but you can't help but be remorseful, you know? I went all the way, I stood on my faith with everything, and I just continue to do that. And just one thing I learned throughout the situation is, and honestly, like, I don't feel like what defines a person is the mistakes we make in our past, because we all make them, and some bigger than others, but it's really the lessons we take into our future. And I would just ask that you give me that fair opportunity to get back to that future. Because when I was out there, after all this happened, yes, very traumatic for everyone. I'm not trying to paint myself as a victim at all. But I got right out, got to work my normal program, working hard. And that's really all I can really say to it. That's all I have to say.
Oh, I have something to say, but I'll hold it.
Article 19 provides only 10 points for interference with the administration of justice. As such, the guidelines do not adequately account for the numerous ways in which the defendant interfered in this case. At the outset of the police investigation, defendant told police that he did not see Zion Foster for months, even though the evidence clearly showed that on January 4th, 2022, defendant picked up Zion Foster from her home and brought her to his home. Even went so far as to tell police that Ms. Foster had a habit of running away because he had a poor relationship with her mother. While the defendant was incarcerated for lying to a peace officer, he used a prohibited cell phone to communicate with the mother of his children and asked her to do legal research on his behalf. He wanted to know whether someone could be charged with murder if the body was never found. While incarcerated, he used other inmates' phone accounts and advised his girlfriend not to show up to court proceedings. Then it reset his phone to white and clean and hence crimes. He advised police Ms. Foster died as a result of a marijuana overdose. Later, he told police that the victim died because of an LSD overdose. Finally, he returned to his original story that Zion Foster died as a result of a marijuana overdose. For all these reasons, this court finds that Rule 19 does not adequately address particular facts in this case. Second, the sentencing guidelines do not properly consider the defendant's lack of potential for rehabilitation. In addition to his pervasive prevarications, he remains largely unable to accept responsibility for his undisputedly established behavior. when the drafter was asked, the drafter of the pre-sentence investigation report was asked whether there was any statement he'd like to have noted in his report, he said, "I didn't murder her, but the jury found me guilty." Well, I'm not surprised that the defendant continues to deny his role in the victim's death. His response reveals that he's incapable of accepting responsibility of the suffering he's caused Zion Foster's family. He's barely acknowledged that he should have called 911. He's not really acknowledged that he should have put Zion Foster, he should have not have put Zion Foster's body in a dumpster. And he's really not acknowledged that he should not have deceived law enforcement. His internet searches do not reflect concern for Zion Foster. Instead, they reflect that he was only attempting to learn ways to avoid taking responsibility. This case was not the act of an impetuous 16-year-old who was influenced by a group of his peers. He acted alone. Defendant's cold indifference and self-absorbed conduct leading up to Zion Foster's death through today made it clear that he's unlikely that he can be rehabilitated. Third, the relationship between the victim and the aggressor provides a reason to exceed the sentencing guidelines. Zion Foster considered defendant her favorite cousin. The defendant only viewed her as a potential source of pleasure. He took advantage of her young age and naivete. Then after she became a liability, he disposed of her in a heartless manner. In exchange for her friendship, he made every effort to protect himself by lying to law enforcement and lying to Zion Foster's family. He did not call 911 for his beloved cousin, who he insists he did not murder. Instead, after it was clear that his lies were not leading law enforcement away from him, he called a lawyer and spoke to police, which he later regretted, to minimize his exposure to prison time. The victim in this case was not a rival. She was not someone who threatened him. She was not someone who poked him. She was not someone who showed him disrespect. He coldly disposed of one of the greatest admirers. His greatest admirer, while his girlfriend was pregnant with their third child, was working the night shift, and his two young children were asleep in his home. The defendant deceived his girlfriend and left his children at home unattended. This case illustrates that the defendant has no concern for anyone other than himself, including his closest family members. All of these facts lead this court to believe that the defendant has a poor chance for rehabilitation. As such, to ensure the protection of the community, a sentence that is longer than contemplated by the sentencing guidelines is warranted and necessary. Fourth, consecutive sentences are also appropriate in this case. The tampering involved the body of Zion Foster. The jury verdict reflects that it concluded that the defendant disposed of the victim's body to conceal the way that he killed her, as well as to conceal the fact that he had killed her. The effort was followed by a torrent of lies to Ms. Foster's family and law enforcement. The defendant's admission that he disposed of Zion Foster's body to police weeks after her murder was part of an ill-conceived attempt to avoid taking responsibility for Zion Foster's death, especially considering the changing stories about the cause of her death. So for these reasons, the defendant is sentenced to 38 to 90 years with consecutive sentence at 5 to 10 years on count 2 with credit for 356 days served. We're going to pay a crime victim's assessment in the amount of $130. We're going to pay court costs in the amount of $1,300. The state court administrator's office has determined that $1,300 is the average cost of this court if the case proceeds through it, and it covers salaries and benefits to court personnel, goods and services necessary for the operation of the court, necessary expenses for the operation and maintenance of court buildings and facilities. You're also to pay $136 state costs. All costs and fees due at the time of sentencing, unless otherwise indicated. Mr. Brazier, it's my duty to advise you of the constitutional right to appellate review of your conviction and sentence. You cannot afford an attorney to prepare post-conviction motions or perfect an appeal. This court will appoint an attorney for you at public expense or provide that attorney with such portions of the transcript as that attorney may require to prepare file with the clerk of this court within 42 days of today's date. Mr. Brazier, do you understand your appellate rights? Yeah. Do you have any questions about your appellate rights? Have you received written notice of those appellate rights?
Yes, we have received.
As to you and your family, it's not.
Huh. No, that wasn't an apology because it was like, oh, I'm sorry, but me, what I'm going through, sorry what I put them through, but what I'm going through now. I hate when, I mean, it's just so obvious. You'd think these defense attorneys would at least try to teach them how to do a remorseful statement. I don't know who that lady is. Okay. Is that his mother? They've torn that, or he's torn that family apart, whatever ties they had there, even though they were second cousins. I'm sure they were tight. And now half of them don't even talk to each other.
Recording stopped.
Well, the thing about it, I get what you're saying here. The thing about it is, though, is that I'm going to go ahead and put this on mute because they're done. If it was an accident, let's say, like something, why would you try to hide it? I mean, let's just think a normal person, you're hanging out with a family member. Okay, even I don't know if marijuana, somebody said they thought marijuana was legal at the time. Even if it wasn't, it's just marijuana. And you're like, okay, yeah, I'm smoking marijuana with my my family member. Right. Let me see if they say anything else. And they die. Well, I'm still gonna I'm not gonna just go hide their body. Oh, hang on, I gotta sneeze. Yeah, it could have been laced. Oh,
for menus, however,
it could have been laced, and if it was laced, he could have been, whether he did it or he didn't do it. It's still there's just, that's why I feel like there's a piece there that's missing that he's not telling everybody. What else did they do? They never found her body, Darlene. They have yet to find her body. So there's no way to do a check to see if she was forced for anything, any kind of acts. So it's one of those things where I'm like, I still feel like if it was just an accident, the way that he says it all went down, then why hide it? It does not make sense. There's something in there he's not saying. And the courts are leaning towards him having some kind of sexual thing with her, or the prosecution is. And I don't know if that's it or not. But otherwise, why wouldn't you just call police, call 911, call a family member? Why hide it? It does not make sense. And that's, I think, he would have been better off saying, I just got scared. He tried to say that, but it's all very suspicious, yeah. And he told them that he dumped her body. He put her body in a dumpster. They went through in the trial, they went through the whole thing with the landfill. They never found her body. And there's video cameras, ring cameras, whatnot, of the area of him picking her up that night. There's of them getting out of the car and going into his house. Yet there's no video of her ever coming out of his house. but there's video of him backing his car into the driveway and then doing something and then leaving late at night. And so, yeah, it's all very, I mean, it's obvious he did something. He did it, but it's just so sad. Let's go back over here to where we were watching, where his first sentencing for lying to police during a murder investigation. Let's finish watching this and see what he says, because I'll go back a little bit because I want to hear what he says to the judge.
And I turned myself and they didn't present me.
Let's start from the beginning.
I'm not totally clear on the situation. And the report is rather sketchy with respect to the situation.
And I will fill Your Honor in on some of those details.
Appreciate it. But what the report suggests is that you had contact with the individual. The police questioned you regarding that contact. You didn't tell them the truth associated with the contact. Then you, once confronted with information that you were not telling the truth, you came forward and told them that you disposed of the body. I mean, that's all. That leaves a whole lot out there that's unaccounted for from the court's perspective. But what circumstances are you talking about?
Well, when she died, it was just random. Like from my end of it.
What do you mean?
I was terrified. Literally from that point on, I didn't know what to do. I wasn't in the right state of mind for anything. And I turned myself and they didn't present me with anything. After getting my thoughts together.
So did you explain how she passed?
I don't know exactly how she passed, what caused her to pass. I just know 1 minute she was cool, she was fine. She laid back for a minute. Next thing I know, she was dead. I don't know what caused it. I did not cause it or anything like that. I reacted stupidly off of fear and panic like I've never felt before in my life. Literally.
I mean, people are sitting around and somebody just passes. I mean, did you think about calling 911 or something like that?
No, not at the time. We were smoking. We were on marijuana as well. So my mental state wasn't in any like logical spectrum. I was just immediately just terrified. Like that's the only words I can use to describe the moment.
Are you telling me that you're stoned, she's stoned, you think she dies, and then you dispose of the body? Just like that? That was your choice?
I sat for a minute and I didn't know what to do. I was like, I just did not know what to do. It's like,
I mean, the first thing that came to your mind, I'm trying to understand with the limited information I have, that this person passed away in your presence. And your first thought is, well, I got to get rid of the body.
My first thought was how bad it looked to start with. It's like, how do I explain like what happened? I don't know why she died or what it caused her to die. And just a lot of possibility just popped in my head. And I was just reacting off of just innate fear. I don't know. Literally, I don't do anything. I just didn't know what to do. I literally did not know what to do. I sat for at least 10 minutes sitting there. Like, what do I do? Who do I call? My kids are upstairs. We just got into this place after struggling for like 2 years to get it, and everything is falling down.
I won't have any conversation in this court.
And I wish I could take it back. I would have called the ambulance, called her mom, because her mom's so sweet. Her mom is so sweet. I just knew. I wish I could take it back. Nobody been in the situation. At the very least, they'd be able to be like, okay, this happened, confirm this. And everybody has some sort of peace right now, you know? But I just didn't know what to do. It's not something, you know, like in life, you try to mentally prep for a lot of situations. But when one that you just would never have even thought to happen, just happens. And you're like, wow, immediately the first thing comes to your mind is everything about to lose, how it's going to affect your kids, your life in general. And then after that, how it's flipped when whoever, it's like play telephone and change many times. Facebook, everything, just a lot hitting me at once. So I had to just take time and try to get my thoughts together because I was on panic mode ever since that happened. Her mom at one point talked to me and I couldn't bring myself, like, your daughter just died. What do I do? And I can't even explain it. What happened? I just can tell you my honest reaction.
Anything further?
On my client's behalf, Your Honor, I can say this: that every interaction I've had with him, whether it's over the phone, via Zoom, or personal jail visits, is the same reaction. You wish you could take it all back. And we know that's not possible, but if there's one person that might deserve to be able to take it back, he does, because he's shown nothing but regret, sorrow, and just an utter confusion on his own actions. He expressed to me on multiple occasions, I can't believe I did what I did. I still can't believe it because I'm not that person. And I don't believe a lot of my clients because they're always just trying to get over, trying to decrease their time in jail, prison, or whatever it might be. This gentleman's not one of those persons.
Very well, Mr. Prosecutor.
All righty. Well, that concludes my coverage of this case, unless, of course, he goes up for parole and we're able to see a parole hearing years down the road. But at that point, I don't know if I'm still going to be alive. Okay, 38 years is what I heard. Who was asking? Teresa was asking how it was hard to hear what the sentencing was. And he said it so quick, the judge did. I thought he said 38, 39 years. And then he said something about to life. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah. Oh, I just got this house. Is that what he was saying? Yeah, it was all about, it was the normal thing. So he didn't love his cousin. He didn't have any, he wasn't mourning her death, obviously. It was all about, oh shit, what about me? Again. And I know everybody throws that word narcissist around a lot, and I don't know if I would say that with him, but it's obvious. It's obvious. Hate to throw a DB term out there, but yeah, like button. Hit that lightsaber. Laura. Thank you, Laura, for reminding everybody to hit the like button. I appreciate you guys sticking with me through this trial. It was not one that was overly popular, but not everybody in the world was streaming it, and that's why I wanted to bring light to it, because some of these other cases do matter too. So with that, I will let you guys go back to your normal day-to-day, and I will see you very soon. I'm going to probably be putting out some parole stuff soon here. Have a blessed week and stay safe.